we have to get off of wanting to be integrated and want to be part of a system that doesn't want us. And one of the steps is going to be financial freedom, and we can get that through our education. And through education, first we have to have the funds, and the only way to get the funds is to get our athletic.
Welcome to BAKtalk. It's your boy C. Rich, my partner Rhea Ban right here. Today we will be discussing our HBCU'S dying. Talking about the athletics and HBCU'S, how they differ from PWIs. Basically, we want to. Okay, so we can go into basically how HBCUs started. HBCUs were here and mostly built for African Americans during the industrial age, for us to have jobs and get educated so we can go into the industries and be able to be productive and make money for our families. However, mostly HBCUs compared to PWI before integration, HBCUs were there because we weren't allowed in PWI universities and colleges, so that gave us an opportunity to as well get educated.
Tell them what PWI is, though. Some people would not know.
What is it?
Predominantly white institutions.
Yeah. I go to one, so hey.
What PWI you go to?
Georgia State.
Is it though?
The
Georgia Tech is white.
Culture has definitely taken over there, so I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
But basically that's what we're going to be dipping into in today's show.
Yeah. So basically this topic came up in light of a recent interview with Rhea Ban on the Breakfast Club. He was discussing how the effect of HBCUs, and I guess the gist of what he was talking about was how, what was it like he was talking about?
Earlier in the before we began the integration, how there were Ivy League schools performing against HBCUs in athletics, and
right.
Majority of the time it was our schools coming out with the victories. Of course, we are the most athletic, the most gifted, and then in the turn of that, you had PWIs and Ivy Leagues coaches, looking like, hey, if we want to build our programs and want to be competitive,
right.
just we can go back to the Negro Leagues with Jackie Robinson and everything.
Right.
That hosted just the same thing.
And Jackie Robinson wasn't even the most talented player to come out of the Negro Leagues. And honestly, in the Negro Leagues, they got the reason they started doing night games. And I think he spoke on that too. Yeah. I'm not sure if he did, but the reason they started doing night games is because the Negro Leagues were doing night games, and they saw the profit that they were getting from that. Exactly. On top of that, those brothers were going across the country. They were like rock stars, like in their community. Talented. Yeah, they were some of the most talented. You had people like Satchel Paige, who went on and they were, far above the white players in the MLB. So a lot of us we didn't even get a chance to really see what effect that league would have for us. Sports is one of the biggest industries, money-wise, for America, exported and just here in the country. Like music, sports, these are fields that we usually dominate in terms of talent, and we don't benefit financially from these industries. And that was one of the reasons why we want to talk about this, because one of the questions we had was, number one, are HBCUs dying? And I guess you can kind of speak to that.
I would say that they're not dying. I feel like they're not what they used to be. HBCUs kind of lost their flavor. And
they were real popular in the early 90s.
But now it's not like, for one, it's too expensive, so a lot of students really can't afford to go to them. And it's like, you go there, pay all of this money, facilities are not as nice. The dorms are not really that good. Here in Atlanta, I've been in a Morehouse dorm on Clark campus. It's not, you're paying for the name, basically. You're paying for the experience, the Greek life. Pretty much, but other than that, it's like, it's not worth it anymore. And I'm looking at it, as we're going into this topic, I'm thinking like, what can athletics do for an HBCU? What can they do for that college or university, that black institution? And I think it'll do a lot, because you're looking at these HBCUs, when they're playing these bigger D1 schools, they're getting dominated. dominated, and they're doing that because they're able to generate revenue off of a loss, getting beat 84-7.
Right.
So I feel as if we are able to take our top athletes that's going to these big schools like Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, and we're able to recruit them into our HBCU'S, and that'll change the whole culture of these black institutions.
The biggest thing we have to commit to, and I think David Ban kind of spoke on this too, and I've heard it plenty of different platforms, but it is a concept that we do have to commit to taking a step back, in order for us. We're not going to just jump and do it. There's no one solution that's going to stop us from having to sacrifice.
Yeah.
We want to get around sacrificing, and that's the main thing. We don't want to take a hit financially. We don't want to take a hit, as far as having to buy having a new J's and everything else. We do have to take a step back, and maybe that's only 5 years, maybe it's 10 years, but that sacrifice will mean so much more for us down the line, 20 years from now. A lot of people have the concept of, if we want instant gratification for everything, but that sacrifice is what's going to get us back to where we need to be. Especially when we talk about, if you think about it, if we have, we have all these athletes that go to these predominantly white schools, Alabama for one. Alabama, you got every top recruit at every position want to go to Alabama every single year. So you have 4 straight years of players who could have been playing somewhere else. They go just to ride the pine for Alabama. They don't even make it to the league, but they just want that one, maybe that single chance to be able to play on TV.
Exposure,
right?
Is key.
But they don't understand the reason that these the reason why Alabama's on TV the way they are, the reason why Kentucky basketball or LSU.
These players.
Just recently, you had Ben Simmons going to LSU basketball. They don't never play on TV. When the last time you seen an LSU game on TV? But because Ben Simmons chose to go there, they had to televise that. So if you have 3, we're talking about maybe 5 years from now. Some parents like LeVar Ball is kind of doing. I like what he's kind of the things that he's doing. If we commit to things like 5 years from now, 3 of our top athletes go to Howard, play basketball. Howard's a D1 school. They're going to play some of the top, and if you have 3 major recruits, you can go and play in Kentucky.
Teams are going to want to play.
Right, you're going to want to play them, so you're going to be on TV. That's going to generate more revenue than we've been generating. And sports are the #1 revenue generating, activities for a university. The reason why Alabama can upgrade their facilities is because they make money from
the reason
TV.
why Nick Saban get paid what, 6, 7,
like
$8 million?
6, 7 million is because the football programs, the athletic programs fund the school, period. They bring the sponsors, they bring them TV money, and they're able to upgrade the schools to where students will want to come there. So, it's just a matter of, understanding that the level of sacrifice is needed. Both from because I understand that there's a check, and people don't want to talk about it. There's a check involved with going to some of these big schools that they don't really talk about, of course, because they, it's against the rules. But, there's money to be had in doing this. And so we have to figure in our minds, like, long term, what are some of the things that we can do in order to not only, it's not just about saving these schools, because HBCU'S, yes, we're kind of integrated now, but we do need to get back to a point of where we have our own schools, we have our own institutions to be able to sustain ourselves. So even though these HBCU'S aren't necessarily, maybe not black, not black owned, these are run by the state. Spelman is named after Rockefeller's wife, so these aren't like, we don't have a Marcus Garvey University, we don't have a Malcolm X University, we don't have a Martin Luther King Tech, you know what I'm saying? So we have to get off of wanting to be integrated and want to be part of a system that doesn't want us. And one of the steps is going to be financial freedom, and we can get that through our education. And through education, first we have to have the funds, and the only way to get the funds is to get our athletic department to kind of get
going.
Because you had Grambling State football where they had
They just won Grambling State, just won the championship for their conference
with mold on in their damn helmets. So you know what I'm saying? Like, if we just upgrade the facilities, if we're able to finance our education through the sports if we're
just like all these other big schools are doing. It's the same formula. You know, they get this TV production, they get these revenues from jerseys. You got games. You got games. You see 100,000 people in a stadium. You got HBCU'S. You know, it's empty. You go in the stadium unless it's like a rivalry game. I mean,
unless the band is playing.
Unless the band is playing, marching band. I mean, that's what you go in there to see. I mean, it's damn near empty. So I mean, I think that's a way that we can really definitely bring up our HBCU'S. And you know, speaking into that, you know, with the NFL draft happening a few days ago, you know, last year there were only about 3 HBCU players drafted in the NFL draft. And you look back and you like, damn, like how many people were actually drafted? Yeah. And there was 253 players drafted. And I know there's way more talent in these HBCUs, but nobody's going there to look. Nobody wants to look because I mean there's not enough exposure for one. So
I mean the top athletes aren't going there no more. Like,
true, exactly. They're going to these bigger schools. And I feel like you were saying that it's going to take a sacrifice for, you know, the next generation or even now for some of these players to be like, hey, I'm going to make a change. You know, instead of going to an Alabama or Ohio State, I'm gonna go to Howard Hampton or North Carolina A&T. You know,
but we can't ask them to make a sacrifice.
Yeah, we can't.
We don't make a sacrifice. Exactly. So the main thing that we have to do, like many other fields, like it, just like outside of education, we have to, you know, start supporting these businesses. And institution in college is a business still. Like they work off money too. So the only way that we can kind of get those institutions to start getting some of the players is if we upgrade the facilities. If we start to commit our own money into, you know, upgrading these universities.
Upgrade of uniforms too, because I mean, at the end of the day, when players are picking these schools, they're going there for apparel as well.
Right.
If you go into Ohio State or Oregon, you know, you about to be decked out in all the sneakers, all the cleats, anything unlimited, and you go into a Hampton or a Howard where you got Russell sponsoring you. I mean, don't nobody come on. Like, I can feel for a player when they're choosing that. Like that is a big. I mean, I feel like it shouldn't be. It should come down to your play. But nowadays, that's what players look for. They look for that appearance. They want to look good while they're playing. So I mean, HBCU doesn't appeal to that.
I mean, but again, that just goes back to, you know, us putting money into those institutions. So for me, I think one thing that we can do, we can all choose to adopt. If you haven't went to a predominantly black school, understand. But in a lot of us aren't giving back to our school financially. So what we can do, one thing that we can all do is we can all adopt one school. If you live in Atlanta, you can choose Morehouse, you can choose Clark, whatever university you choose. You out in DC, choose Howard. If you out on the west side, I don't know.
San Francisco State University.
Okay, so I mean, there's schools that you can choose that are around you. Dedicate $5. Send them $1. If there's been at least 1 million graduates from an HBCU, at least. If each one of you give $1, like if you blow money all the time, we blow money at the strip club, we blow money everywhere. So we can dedicate $1, $5, $10. Just give it one time every few months. Give them a few dollars and see what they and tell them, look, this is what we want y'all to do.
Yeah, and then it can help as well bring the tuition down.
Right.
I mean, that's
one of the big reasons why we're not going.
Not able to go because they're like, how am I afford it? Like I wanted to go to Howard. I got in. I wanted to go. But I mean, at the end of the day, it came down to finances. You know, I'm paying $40,000, $50,000 a year. Who gonna pay for it? Yeah. And that's a lot of debt for me to come out of college with a degree, and I'm looking like, man, I'm over $100,000, $200,000 in debt. Nobody wants to look at that. Nobody wants to face that. So that's why we go to our in-state BWIs and keep it moving. I mean, at the end of the day.
So I mean, I'm into giving people solutions.
Yeah,
so
I understand.
That's one thing we can do. Dedicate, man. Find an institution. For me, I always, like I said, I want to always go to either Hampton or Howard. Those were 2 schools that I want to go to. I couldn't afford to go to. So I can give $10 every 2-3 months to both of those universities. And actually what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start a campaign. I wanna start a campaign fund. And we're gonna try to get people to give money. Give us $1, give us $5, we will give it, we will be in contact with these universities and try to build some type of system where we can give back to them and have them kind of dedicate money to the athletic department. I understand because, you know, some people be like, oh, we don't care about sports.
Exactly.
It ain't about sports. You got to understand that sports is money for these universities. So we have to pick. We have to be strategic and pick things that are going to drive money. As much as I love law, as much as I love, you know, medical departments, those ain't going to drive money into the school. It's not going to do it unless those doctors come back and give 1,000, give $1 million or whatever, but they're not going to do that. That's just a reality. We don't. They're not going to do that. So we have to kind of pick things strategically. So sports is going to be the strategy. We're going to pick football and basketball.
Baseball, I mean, whatever.
Baseball,
don't matter.
the whole athletic department. Choose to give to those departments so they can start upgrading their facilities and bring, and y'all start, you know, telling your kids, look, we need to try to, you know, get into some of these schools and change the way that, you know, these schools
And it's funny because it's like a lot of these kids coming up, their parents graduated from HBCU'S.
Right.
And you got, your son is a top recruit, but you tell him to go to Ohio State and Alabama. Why don't you influence him to go to where you went? I mean, I know it doesn't sound
It's not that check.
Yeah, it's not
a check.
It's like, Dad, you know, I'm going to get more exposure here than there.
Right.
But I feel like if you're really that good of an athlete or player, your talent going to shine.
You're going to be on TV, man.
Somebody going to see you. Somebody going to, everybody can't sleep. They always looking for talent. So if you're really that good, that's a perfect place to show off your talent.
We look at it, because we keep looking at it from a standpoint of, you know, these are the places that going to get you put on TV.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to follow where the talent is. So if Alabama's having a down year, they're not showing Alabama. If Ohio State, when they were going through the rut that they were going through, yeah, they were on TV for Ohio State versus Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
But people weren't tuning into them games, so they would turn them off TV and bring in another game. So it's all about, man, they're going to follow where the talent is. People who's going to get driven to where the talent is. So if we have, imagine a squad where it's like 12, 15 players who can all go to NFL going to Grambling. Like, they're going to be on TV regardless.